Or are you gonna hit it?
I'm hitting
Okay.
record.
All right.
Thank you, Lord. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me.
How
Uh-huh.
you went from thank you, Lord, to give it to me, baby? We number
That's
one,
me.
this
That's me.
definitely needs to be
Me.
on the recording for this episode. Number two, you're ridiculous.
So, in essence, I guess the podcast has already started. So, welcome into
Faith and mess. There you go.
Faith
From
and
thank
Mess.
you, Jesus, to give it to me,
Thank
baby.
you,
That's us in a
baby.
nutshell.
I mean, I think that reflects my Apple playlist pretty.
I'm
Like.
sure it does. You probably listen to. Do you like quartet music? I don't know this for sure, but
So before I answer that question, in all seriousness, what's up, y'all? What's going on, fam? Welcome to Fam Matter. This is an official. We got to officially welcome
sorry.
people to the podcast. So we say welcome to our podcast. It is Fam Matters with Emmett and Jess. As we say every time we're here. We are two qualified individuals with unqualified opinions. She's a real doctor. I'm a fake one, and not the kind that you see on TV. And here we are doing our thing once again. And we say thank you to all of the fan faithful who continue to listen. And even like the one person now, I think that's emailed us.
It's one person.
A family
Full
member.
disclosure, it is our cousin, but still, no, that's not true. Two people have emailed us. Both
Two.
of them are members of our family,
But
but still,
still. So you
it's
see the email.
more than just him and me emailing each other.
For those of you watching, you can see the scroll, fanmatterspod@gmail.com, fanmatterspod@gmail.com. If you're listening to us, you just heard me say it. I'm not going to say it again, or maybe I should say it one more time for the
One
Holy
more
Ghost.
time.
For the Holy Ghost.
One time for the Holy Ghost.
fanmatterspod@gmail.com, and of course on YouTube, Fan Matters Pod.
We also have an IG now.
We have an IG.
Fan Matters Pod.
Yeah, Fan Matters Pod. So
Everything is Fan Matters
it's
Pod.
actually Fan Matters Pod. So we actually got that right.
We are consistent with one thing, not with recording, because it's been several weeks since our last episode, but we are consistent with our social media handles. And y'all should follow us on Instagram.
So you just asked, right? Yeah, my
Question of the day: do you like quartet music?
my question, yes and no. So here's my yes. Here's my yes. Like I am a hard sentimentalist. Like I am, my family clearly. My family knows I am sentimental to my core. So on my mother's side, my mother's from Warrenton, North Carolina, in Warren County, North Carolina, which at one time I still think it is. But Warren County, North Carolina, is like one of the poorest counties, or used to be one of the poorest counties in North Carolina. Grew up sharecropping family, all that. When I would go down there, like Mother's Day, and I remember in my childhood, it's still very traumatic to me. I spent like a week down there without my mom one summer. And that's a whole nother podcast, right? But when I would go down there and we would get up, on Sunday morning, Mother's Day, go to church, quartet music would be playing on the on the radio, and then my grandmother, she loved to do like spoken word, and like she was big stuff in Warrenton. She did. It would be packed out, and then she would do poetry and stuff. And then like that's like pretty cool historically. Just like we should write something about that as a family. But anyway, they would have quartets come in, and it would be like music and all that stuff. So like I can still hear that music, the Carolina Kings, and I can still hear it, right? That didn't, and then working in Danville at the radio station, there was a lot of quartet music. That's the yes. The no is it's quartet music, and I hate it. It's
Oh
I'm
my
gonna tell you
gosh.
what though, it is. I don't necessarily favor it. I was the one at the radio station that was always like, can we play something newer? And I pushed, and thank God my program director, shout out to, and general manager, shout out to Lee Cameron at WDVA Radio 1250 AM in Danville, Virginia, and surrounding areas. He allowed me to play some newer stuff and all that, but it was mostly quartet music. So I have an appreciation for it, but do I personally like it? I'm a Fred Hammond fan, to answer your question. So yeah. And he does quartet. He can do that stuff, but yeah,
Commissioned is
yeah. It,
quartet.
it's essentially a quartet, but
Mm-hmm.
his newer stuff is my
Not
bailiwick.
that.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to think of who else I like. And so once again, well, the thank you, Lord, and give it to me, baby playlist. I spend more time on the give it to me, give it to me, baby side than I do the thank you, Lord
Correct.
side. On the
Which
playlist. On the playlist. When I'm listening to music. Full disclosure, that's just me.
no one who listens to this podcast is surprised by that. Mainly because all the people who listen to this podcast are people who know us already and know that
I mean,
we're ruffians.
I like gospel. I like gospel music. I just when I'm in the car, I do. When I'm in the car, though, I just want something to kind of thug it out. That's
Oh
just
my
something like really,
gosh.
really something really smooth. I always laugh, right? Because I don't even know if I should say this. So like super holy couples. Right, I always used to be laughing, be like, "So, what do you all listen to when you're, like doing it?" Are
Do
you
you remember
talking?
when TD Jakes put out that Sacred Love Songs album? That was so disturbing.
I remember it, but I
It
didn't. I
was
never listened to it. No, no, no. I mean, I kind of don't want to be like, or maybe some people need to, like, while I'm getting in the groove with the wife, like encourage yourself in the Lord. Maybe I do need to encourage myself. or just
oh my
bring
god.
it to Jesus. We've come this far by faith. I'm rounding the corner in the love making experience and just,
Yikes.
so yeah.
Everything
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
That's
Everything isn't for everybody.
it's not. It's not. So I mean, do you like I don't have to ask the question. This is
Do
for
I like
you
quartet
too.
music?
I already know the answer to that
No,
question,
I
but
do not.
yeah, I know you don't like at all.
Except this is because this is a Negro spiritual. Cooling water from grandma's well has not ever let me down.
So
Why'd you
when
make that face?
because because that was a surprise. That's number one. And number two, that's like your go-to when you're in pain. When you need something. Is that what it
When
is?
you're in pain?
Like when you're in like emotional, mental distress. Is
Me
it?
or
Yeah.
people?
No, you said you like cooling water. That's what you just
Yeah.
said. So
The
when you
song.
yeah, but I mean, so you don't like listen to it when you just feel like you need a boost from the Lord. You just like the song.
No.
Okay, all right. That's different.
No.
Yeah.
I don't if I need a boost from the Lord, a quartet music would never occur to me.
What would occur to you? Trap music? You can
You know
Mary,
me,
Mary,
no,
I
I'm
love
also not a
I
trap
love
girl.
I love God.
That was a bit much for me. CeCe Winans, I have issues with her politics, but sis can sing a gospel ballad.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Mhm.
I like a wide range. I
Mm.
like a wide range, not quartet music though.
Yeah, well,
It's a no for me.
it's a no. It's a hard. So then
It's a hard
imagine
no.
imagine being on the radio having to listen to quartet at a 4-hour shift. 4 hours.
Yikes. And it was, well, I mean, you were in Danville though, right? I mean,
Right.
that's
So and that
the
was
kind of music that
that was the thing, right? He went along with me. Lee went along with me because he felt like I could bring something to the station. Number one, and I think he understood that even the strata across the demographic, there were some young people in there. Not a
Did
lot.
y'all hear that? The strata across the demographic. Woo! Those are special media words.
I hate you so much right now.
Wow, that was so hurtful.
Quite frankly, I don't have anything
The
else to respond.
strata across the demographic.
But we
Ooh,
had some young
that's nice.
people listening, but primarily it was
Mhm. It
the
was the
quartet
seasoned saints. Yeah.
because that's what the area loves.
Mhm.
And to his point, if there was a concert or something going on at at Loyal several times, we hosted these quartets, women quartets, male quartets, youth quartets. I mean, they had them all. So
It's a genre, and it's a genre that's never going away.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't go away. I
No,
don't
I'm
think it.
not saying it should, but it definitely won't.
No, not at all. There's something about, um, I think for me that the thing I really actually do love about quartet music. I think is unique. Is to me it's like the only music where you know you can sing and you can be in a groove and then you can just really make up anything you want to say.
Anything. You
You
could tell a story. You
tell
could
a
do a
story.
rhyme.
I mean, and it just goes
It
on
could
and
be a
on.
story about a cat in a well.
And
Somebody could die and come back to life. The possibilities are endless with
yep.
quartet music.
But it's always like, and God said, and God, it's always going to come back around. There's this. So, so real quick before I just got to say before we shift, I will. Full disclosure, and a song I do like is a fix it for you. Now here's the kick, right? That song does not sound like a traditional quartet or gospel song. They absolutely probably got some kind of riff like that from a dirty club. And they just, they put the words in there. So anyway, shout out to Mighty Clouds of Joy for giving me a gospel quartet song. So we
What a
talked
mess.
about our listener. We talked about two. We have two listeners. Two listeners to both family members, right? Thank you
Correct.
for listening. Or
Thank you
I'm
to
sorry.
our family for supporting
Thank you
us.
for supporting us. Not we have more than listeners in that, but thank you for those who emailed in. And one of our listeners emailed a pretty great question that we're not going to talk about because when we were talking about the question, we started talking about other things, and you said something that I thought was pretty, interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about. But if you want to bring up the question, please do. I don't really care.
We can talk about the question at the end because I feel like you really built up this other thing that you said is more interesting. So
I think it is because I think you should drop the hammer on this one. I really think before you drop that hammer, she's about to drop the hammer, but I'm about to drop this this information for you. fanmatterspod@gmail.com. fanmatterspod@gmail.com. Hit us up. All right. Check us out on YouTube. Go ahead and like the channel. And I'm sorry, forgive me, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Hit, smash, destroy that like button. We appreciate that. And look at our handles. You can check us out, Hey Young World 07 on Instagram, and Dr. Jessica Brown also on Instagram as well. All right. So we built it up. Drop it.
the world does not deserve Black women. That's how I feel.
Why do you say the world does not deserve Black women?
So here's why the world does not deserve Black women. The Grammys just happened.
Stop moving the computer. Sorry, go ahead.
Me? I was moving the computer.
I got to stop moving the computer. Go ahead. The
Okay.
Grammys just happened.
And neither of us watched the Grammys, so you should know that.
I don't.
But, social media. So the big headline, particularly among Beyonce fans, is that Sis is now the artist who has won the most Grammys ever in life.
Ever.
32 Grammys. And she still has not won Album of the Year, which is the highest award.
This year went to Harry Styles.
Harry Styles, who also, full disclosure, I don't know who that is. Sorry to this white man.
I mean, One Direction, really? You don't remember from I think it was One Direction, I believe.
Would I have remembered the
And
individual names of the people in One Direction?
that branched off, and to his credit, I even think he was surprised
As he
when
should have been.
he was surprised when.
He should have been. So the question of the day is, how does Beyonce, who is Beyonce, now has 32 Grammys,
Mhm.
doesn't win Album of the Year when Renaissance broke the whole interwebs,
It
as
did.
she does,
She does constantly, but that's one of the reasons why. But keep going, keep going.
correct? Constantly, she breaks the interwebs. All Beyonce has to do is like post a picture with no caption,
Mhm.
and people lose their minds.
Yeah.
Exhibit B for why the world does not deserve Black women. The Oscars.
Mm. Say it. Can I? Can I? Can I? Can I?
You come
Can I
on
do
in
this?
here. Jump
Can I do
in.
this?
Jump
Can I
in.
do this one? The world does not deserve Black women, and we understand this. The world keeps running over Black women with the bus in every field, entertainment field. Of course, we remember, and please forgive me for invoking the name Jada Pinkett Smith, which I generally don't invoke, but we do remember a few years ago, it might have been like 2018, 2019, the whole Oscar so white thing. And it is true. It is just true. She was absolutely right. Did it bring more attention to her name? Whatever. So fast forward now. Here we go. One of the best movies this year, directed by a Black woman, believe written by a Black woman, starring several Black women. You all know what I'm talking about. The Woman King. Carlette and I went to go see this movie, and glued to the screen.
It was
Viola Davis.
captivating. It was
Viola Davis
captivating.
is a gift to this world. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic.
And she now has EGOT status, which proves
She's a gift. I mean, so I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying with the EGOT thing. I get it. But even if you get the E, the G, and the T out, and just with the O, I mean, just phenomenal. Doubt, The Help. That's just a few of just two movies that I can just think of off the top of my head right now. So anyway, The Woman King was phenomenal. Everyone who acted in that movie brought their A+ game. All right, everybody. Not even a nomination. But one of the movies nominated was a movie literally called Women Talking. And it was white women in a barn. Amish white women in a barn. That there was a sexual assault that happened amongst the Amish community, and these white women in the barn talking. No action. White women talking. Now we all know that white tears, especially white women tears, are some of the most precious liquid on this earth. We understand this. But can I tell you that Viola Davis, her sweat from the Woman King was the very first scene. But once again, over and over and over and over again, the world shows that not just do we not deserve Black women, but we don't even realize how to honor Black women. That's why we don't deserve our Black women. I love Black women. You're a Black woman. I like you
I
right now.
am.
I usually love you, but I like you right now for what you said
Wow.
earlier. Yeah.
That's hurtful.
But that's all I wanted to say. So thank you for tagging me in. I now tag you back.
I mean, I just think it goes to show, and I was actually having a conversation with a client about this earlier this week. Like, Black women can literally do everything within our power, and it still won't be good enough.
Not enough.
And
Nope.
I think it's really is. I saw this thing on Instagram today, which I really hadn't thought about it, but I think it's true. It was talking about the ways Beyonce, and I'm not saying she does this intentionally, but I mean, in some ways, Beyonce has approximated whiteness in all of these ways, except like literally turn herself white. Like she's blonde, right?
Mm-hmm.
She perfectly curates her
Mm-hmm.
body and eat like if you watch the what was her Coachella performance, like if you watch the Netflix special about that,
Was it
she
Homecoming?
talks
Was it?
Homecoming.
Yeah.
She talks about how she beat her body into submission for
Did
this
she, did she
Coachella.
did she use that term? Did she use
She
that
didn't
term?
use. I don't think she used that term,
Okay, 'cause that's a
but
church term. That's a Bible term. But go ahead.
it's a Bible
It's
term,
a Bible term.
right? But I think it's interesting because like there's no arguing about her being the top of her game, you know, in terms of what she produces, in terms of the experience she produces for people, in terms of diversity of her artistry, and it's still not good enough, you know? And I think, go ahead.
No, no, I was agreeing. I just said it's not.
And, you know, I think the other piece of it is like, and, you know, people are funny talking about this too, but I won't go as far as to say that it's there's a lot of hate for Beyonce in the Black community too. I won't go as far as to make a big, you know, socio-political statement about why that might be.
Say it. I think no. I think you should. I think you should
I
say it.
mean, I think white folks and Black folks alike are so offended by a Black woman who is excellent and who feels no need to pander to anyone
Mm-hmm.
in order to be recognized as excellent.
Hmm.
And I think people are offended by that and put off by that, you know. I mean, and y'all know because we talked about Renaissance a couple episodes ago. Like, I'm not even a huge Beyonce fan.
I'm not one at
I'm
all.
not gonna go to Beyonce concert or nothing. I haven't listened to Renaissance 100 times, but I just like there's no way that you can be on this planet and doubt the quality of performer and musician and artist that she is. Like that's not debatable.
The only people that don't know who she is are those, kind of backwards people who may not have TVs or any radio
They
whatsoever.
still know who Beyonce is.
Even that still know. Even they still know who Beyonce
I
is.
mean, Beyonce's had what, like a 20-year career at this point?
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. This is no. She's had.
Longer than that, 30 years.
It's been, yeah. I mean, yeah. If we're talking, like back in the day when they were doing like basement shows and poo butt stuff like that, yeah, and just getting out there. But I mean, if you're talking about her being an absolute force of nature, she's definitely been that for 20 years.
For years. For
20 years.
years. So
Yeah.
what does it say if even this woman who's iconic
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't get album of the year, right? And it's not like this is something that happened once. Like this is a repeated thing with Beyonce, you know? So I mean, I just think it goes to show like some people are never going to be happy. And I think like from my perspective as a Black woman and as a Black woman who cares for other Black women, like a part of the conversation that I'm having with people is like, what are we working ourselves to the bone for? Like be the workhorse of a society with what to show for it at the end.
32 Grammys and a lot of money. I mean, I
In
get
her case, but the rest of us regular people don't have that much to show for it.
I get what you're saying. fanmatterspod@gmail.com, fanmatterspod, YouTube, fanmatterspod, Instagram. Emmett and Jess here, and we're talking once again. If you just kind of started paying attention to the podcast, but why the world doesn't deserve Black women, and really what kicked it off is this idea of Beyonce, even though historic moment, had before all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I definitely had before, but there's still space to look at the issue, from a very critical lens. When I think about it, all the things you used to say it, let me amen that. Don't no need to go back over. You clearly have articulated everything in your mind at this point, because I know you're thinking about even more stuff. When I think about it, I kind of, I think, saw a post or something that they were, the Academy or whoever makes these decisions were like, like she can't win everything. And I hate that because, if she was white, then she
She
would.
would win every
You know,
absolutely.
like Taylor Swift, you have given her every award that you can give her, even though she didn't deserve to win. I know we talk about Kanye being crazy and all that kind of stuff.
He was right about that.
He was right about that.
Yeah.
He might have
He's
been wrong
wrong
in
about a
one
lot
thing.
of things,
He's
but he
wrong
was
about
right
a
about that.
lot of things. Let me just say, I'm not big up in Kanye, but on that one, when he said what he said, he was absolutely right. And the idea, though, that we can't celebrate somebody in the fullness of their artistry or personhood, and we have to give them less, is not an ideal that is applied to white people. It's an ideal that's applied to us. And
Because they don't believe we deserve to be there
they don't
anyway,
believe
is what it boils
they,
down
they
to.
don't believe we deserve to be there anyway. So let's go ahead and give it to her, because we can't deny that she's a force in nature. So yeah, she deserves this historic piece, but not everything, because I mean, come on, give some other artists a chance. Well, guess what? If we're talking about a merit-based system, which is what we're supposed to be, dealing with here, let's look at the numbers. Let's look at excuse me, let's look at the history. Let's look at all these things. And I can guarantee you at the end of the day, Beyonce outsold Harry Styles. Beyonce's, I'm not putting any shade on him or any of his fans,
I will.
but
Compared to Beyonce,
no, no, no.
please.
I don't have, but see, that's the thing. I don't think we have to, in order to say what's right and what's real, and that is that he did what he did, but we also understand that she did what she did, and she did more. She did more. There was more, and if it's supposed to be something, once again, merit based, that goes off of spins, whatever the case may be, album sold, all that kind of stuff. I mean, come on. There's not even a close second.
No, it's
So,
not a
like you,
competition.
I'm not a fan of. I said this when we talked about it the other week. I'm not a fan of Beyonce's, but I respect her, and I respect
Absolutely.
her artistry. I respect her
Absolutely.
personhood and what she has done. I will never ever go to a concert of hers. I will never pay $500 to get in to see her and all that.
Why?
I
Because the light bill.
because the light
But
bill. Hold on now, because it's cold up in this piece.
correct.
Utility bill.
I literally have on my heater right now.
I mean,
But still, there's no denying, right? It's not, there's no denying it. And even when you have other people get up and accept their awards and they're thanking Beyonce, like
right.
she's a legend.
She's a
She's a
legend.
legend. And
She's a
she's
legend.
not like, she has so much more of her prime left that like we haven't even seen
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah. Like if Aretha was rocking until she died. So Beyonce's 40, 41,
40
maybe.
something. Yeah.
She's
She
in her.
has so much more of her prime left.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a 55-year-old Beyonce who who is, because you can't convince me otherwise, because it just happens in this way in your ages and stages. 40-year-old Beyonce is going to be different than 55-year-old Beyonce.
Sure, of
It's going to
course.
be a different mode, and her creativity will probably shift maybe to something more settled. This, well, we're in different generations. I would say that
Because he's old.
Beyonce, but I would make the argument Beyonce is in my generation more
Oh,
than
yeah,
she's in your generation,
for
right?
sure.
She's closer in age than me than she, well, yeah,
Mm.
right. So yes, we like the bangers that we like. We often will romanticize the best music, that we think according to our teenage years, but a 55-year-old Beyonce, can you imagine her like doing like a jazz album? Like, just, I mean, just
Oh,
with
man.
all the stuff, she's already done, and like going into a different mode. That's, I don't, it's crazy. But to your point, she's going to continue rocking out. Can you imagine how many Grammy wins she's still going to end up with? Because she's still denied that one. No, she doesn't need it. We know. And as we've always known, it's that double consciousness, piece again,
Mhm.
of existing in these two different worlds. Like we know you good enough. We understand that you've had to perform, do kind of this double thing. We know you good enough, and one day she's gonna get that award. She
Sure.
deserves it. She been deserved it.
She's deserved it for over a decade.
For
Sure.
over a decade. She gonna get it. She gonna get it. But the rock out from her career is going to be ridiculous. How many she's even going to end up with? I can't even I can't even fathom that. And but this is just one example. Like the world didn't deserve. I'm going to go here. The world didn't deserve Shirley Chisholm. The world didn't deserve what's the young lady? I put and please forgive me. Please forgive me for not being ready, for being on camera, for asking this. And I don't want to throw you under the bus either if you don't know.
We'll
But
see.
the,
Google is our friend.
the young lady that really was Rosa Parks before Rosa Parks. Um,
Oh,
it's like
Claudette.
I cannot. Please forgive me, but oh,
Her
if Rosa
initials are
Parks,
CC. Claudette, we speak your name. I can't remember her last name.
so if
Oh,
Rosa,
Claudette Colvin.
thank you, Claudette Coleman. So if Rosa was intentional, and helped to kick off. I mean, well, really, kick off the bus boycott.
But let's talk about it because do you know why Claudette Colvin isn't as famous?
Let's go there. Go.
Claudette Colvin did not have the squeaky clean record.
Mm-hmm.
She, I don't want to make up, I can't remember the details of it, but she basically was not as
She didn't look like Rosa.
polished.
She didn't look like Rosa.
She
Let's
was
just say it.
brown
She was
skinned.
brown skin.
Okay, I had to look this up before I said it. She was pregnant as a teenager. She
Right,
was
right,
darker
right.
skinned.
Do
Her
that.
hair wasn't as coiffed,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so let's talk about how Black folks, let's talk about how Black folks don't deserve Black women. How even the establishment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even the civil rights establishment
Mm-hmm.
decided that Claudette Colvin wasn't clean enough. And if you talk about somebody who really took a stand, it was her, right? Because Rosa Parks was a plant. We try
Right.
to make it seem, and this is not to diminish what Rosa Parks did
Sure.
at all, right?
It was
But
great.
sometimes when people tell the story, it's like she just decided to sit down. No,
She didn't.
she was a member of the NAACP and they decided
Right.
she was going to be the face of a lawsuit, right?
And
So,
this information is relatively new. People
correct.
just started talking about Claudette Colvin. Yes.
Just started talking about her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it goes to show, right? Black women can be the workhorse, but not be celebrated in the way they deserve. And to me, even acting like Rosa Parks, oh, she was just tired. Like, no, she was a part of a strategy. Like,
Mhm.
let's not downplay this as she just accidentally got arrested one day.
Right.
No.
It wasn't like that, bro. It wasn't like that. I will say this. It's not that I don't agree with you. Yet, at that time, I can understand it. I can absolutely understand it. At that time, I can understand that.
So
I
at
can.
this time, when people continue to engage in respectability politics, do you understand it now?
I don't because of our history. Because of our history back then it was different. It just was. Back then it was different. Was it? I mean, so if we're talking about even just like racism, was it right? Was it right for somebody to enslave somebody else? No, it wasn't right then. I'm just saying I understand it. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying I understand it. And now we have the perspective of history. That's when I tell people when I teach Bible study and stuff. Like when we talk about Jesus, we have
We
a
know the end of the story.
we
Yeah.
know the end of the story now.
Yeah.
They didn't then. So, we know a little bit better. And knowing better says that we don't have to engage in these respect. We shouldn't have to engage in the respectability politics, but they did then. They felt like it was the right way to go. Having or showcasing this woman, and we got off on a tangent. I love the tangent we got off on. but we
Our
got
tangents are usually better than our planned conversations.
they really are. But looking at through history, these individuals, you know, in civil rights, politics, art, literature, all these things, entertainment. We could go down the list, right, and name all of the black women who were overlooked,
Mhm.
put in the back, and it's just like time and time and time and time again. So what we're saying is that here we have another example in 2023 that these things still happen. It still exists. And this is why we got to keep going and keep talking about it and keep dealing with it on policy levels. And here's the other thing, real quick, and really I'm done. Um,
You know that's what preachers say when they about to tune up again.
on
Just
the
FYI.
policy level, there's still work to be done. But the social arena is the battleground now because there are so many podcasts, so many just I mean there's so many avenues to fight that battle, and a lot of times people will tune in to a podcast now before they tune into the news, right?
Mhm.
So yes, policy wise, but if we didn't talk about this, then we would not be contributing to the battle and to the fight, and therefore we would show ourselves counterfeit in this battle or in the war, if you will.
Mm. Drop the mic.
No, it's too expensive. Okay, okay, I don't know who came with that. They didn't pay for the microphone.
They did not pay for their mic.
It's too expensive.
No, but I think you're exactly right. And like the piece that comes up for me is like, what does it mean? Yes, we're talking about this on the podcast. And what does it mean to counteract that in our everyday life?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, what does it mean to
Mm-hmm.
celebrate the people who aren't celebrated by these systems? What does it mean to lift those voices up so people know those names? What does it mean to celebrate the people in your own life
Mm.
who are making the world better and making your worlds better? I think that's one of the ways we counteract it too.
We have to. Um, and to your point, what we're saying, when I went on Facebook the other day, a person I met, he's actually a police officer in Danville. um, he decided to post on his Facebook page every day during Black History Month a picture of a black resistance fighter or
Mm.
just somebody historical. No caption, the pick. That's it, just the pick. And if somebody asks who it is, then he goes into it. And I mean, it just little stuff like that, right? Because once again, those places are are a viable arena to fight in. Because a lot of times, oh God, it just we don't even have time to deal with being quiet in workplaces or even amongst our family. But really though, really for real, we know we got some ignorant family members, right? But like at work, for real, there's a lot of ignorancy.
A lot.
There's a lot. So like you were saying, not just that, but I mean it's like all these places that we have access to. If we don't use the access, then we're forfeit. Period. Period. We have too many ways to be able to fight. You and well, I would say though, you would be there before I would might have a chance to go to Capitol Hill and push right policy that makes up for some of the ills and the injustices and all these things, just the hatred. We might have a chance. You would before I would. And yet, maybe we'll never get there. But the little that we can do, we must do. I
We
can't
must.
answer this. This is too serious. All right, say something. I don't know. I got to do something. I can't handle that serious. No, I just can't.
I'm gonna I'm gonna challenge you to stop disqualifying your preparation and credentials, please. Can we do that in 2023?
I'm being serious though when I say this,
Why would I go there before you? What's
because
the logic behind that?
you're a published author who all no, listen, you're and all these things. I am super proud of you. You know this already. You're a
I know
published
this.
author, and you have been granted access to spaces that your voice was needed to be heard in. That's why I say that. That's exactly why I say that. I mean, I'm not, and you also know that I think you have. I think you know that I know that you got better sense than I do
Definitely, absolutely, that's correct.
in
Yes,
a professional setting.
correct.
That's true.
Yes,
Like,
one of us, which is actually really alarming because anyone who knows me very well knows that I have very little sense, and still I
yeah,
have more than you. So that is also true.
yeah, you do, you do,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. And that's the show, folks. Fanmatterspot at gmail.com. Fanmatterspot at gmail.com.
This is
Fanmatter
a mess, and we're happy you're
YouTube.
here.
Subscribe to the channel, like the video.
Thank y'all for
Um,
following our little fledgling Instagram. We ain't got nothing on there, but y'all are following it. God is good.
Fan Matters Pod, Instagram.
Fan Matters Pod on Instagram, on YouTube, fanmatterspod at gmail.com. Send us some suggestions or something to talk about. You can inbox us on Instagram. I'll try to remember to check the inbox.
Oh, speaking of which, our cousin, what was the question that
So the question, this was related to our conversation about Jamal Bryant that we had a couple episodes
oh,
ago.
yeah.
And so the question was, as a mental health professional, have I ever given the client a pass for smoking weed to deal with their issues? I thought that was a great question.
Answer.
Um, the answer is people are going to do what they want to do, regardless of if their therapist thinks they should. As a mental health professional, I'm of the mind that weed isn't always a bad thing. It can be used recreationally, and there are lots of like very valid reasons that people use it medicinally. And this is the case with anything, I don't think it should be the only tool in your toolbox.
Mm.
Right? So if the only way you know how to manage your emotions is by smoking, then I think
but it should be a tool. It should be in there. You saying?
I'm not going to recommend it to anyone, but if it's already a part of their toolbox, I'm going to suggest you also have some other skills and resources at your disposal.
Gotcha.
Because, and here's the thing, I think I said this last time, people act like weed is just like you just can't get addicted to weed, and that's absolutely not true.
It's not true.
You absolutely can, right? So I think you still have to be thoughtful about your use. And you never want to be in a situation where you only have one option when you feel bad. Like that's just not a helpful place to be. So that's what I would say about it. Am I going to encourage my clients to use weed as a coping strategy? Nah, I'm not there yet. But, I'm also not going to shame people for doing what they feel like they need to do to be okay. So.
And look at that. We've answered your question, which means we read the emails, we think about them, and we get back to you.
We sure do.
Hey, check us out on all those platforms, IG, YouTube, Gmail, Fan Matters Pod, and we sincerely say thank you to all the fan faithful who keep lifting us up and hitting us up. So thank you very much for Dr. Jessica. Now I'm messed up for Dr. Jessica Young Brown. I'm Emmett Young saying
Dr. Emmett Young.
Are we done?
Are we done?
All right, let me. All right, here we go. You ready?
Appreciate you. Yeah, let's do it.
Poor Dr. Jessica Young Brown. I'm Emmett Young. I'm Dr. Emmett Young.
Boo, boo.
Peace.
Bye.
Let me see. I gotta do the take the thing off. I'm recording. There we go.